Hey guys, very good evening. So hope you guys are doing good. Welcome to this special Sunday edition, I would say. So I decided like the other day I didn't take too many questions. So I thought at least today let me take up as many questions as possible. So hold on, let me get my phone. Okay, and one more setting. What am I doing? Just hold on, guys. So this. iPhone. Okay, so I'm back here. Again, a very warm welcome to this special Sunday edition. So, where I'm trying to answer as many questions as possible, whatever you had asked me. So, the previous session, like I couldn't take up too many questions. So, I decided let me make this a special session only for Q&A, maximum Q&A as much as possible. So let me see how many of you are out there, and let's see. Commenting, is it live? Is it going on? Video. So let me just check over here on my Facebook page whether I'm live, how many comments are coming in. So just want to check that out. Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm not connected. So okay, a lot of you visitors already out there. 71 comments. Oh my god, I missed all these comments. I did not connect my Wi-Fi, so I couldn't start it over here on my phone. So again, let me see all the guys. See you, Prajwal, Sandeep. Wow, already questions have started pouring in. Just hold on, guys. So let me just get this basic setup right on my phone, where I have to connect to the Wi-Fi over here, so that yes, it's connected. There you go. Too many of these sessions. Good. Sandeep, Sachin, Siru, Venkatesh, very good evening to all of you. Always nice to hang out here and start answering all the various queries, whatever you have. So Ahmad, yes, always happy to see all of you guys out here. And in fact, meeting with examples, my God, too many questions coming up already. And of course, for a lot of you guys new out there who don't know who I am, what I am doing out here, all these things. So it's just I normally conduct these live photography sessions where I try to answer as many questions and give you inputs. Shubhankar Day, good evening. Rahul Dio, good evening. So a warm welcome to all of you. Why is this taking so much time? Okay, so my main device through which I look at all your questions, I have to restart it, no matter how much you advance in technology. So are you using iPhone 7? Not yet. Madhab Dash, good evening Madhab, and sorry for not covering the black and white in the previous session. So hope to cover that in some of the future sessions, definitely. And for all of you guys out there, I was experimenting something, and I believe this is live on YouTube channel as well. So it's just like I reduced the resolution for the Facebook beaming so that I can accommodate YouTube as well. So even I'm live on YouTube, so for a better HD quality, so you can even watch me on YouTube, where I don't think I'll be able to take up too many questions on YouTube, because all my questions I'm seeing it here. Okay, so Yatavan all the way from Spain. Okay, where do I start? Already questions have started pouring in. Let me just get this one more time. So what I'll do, guys, is I'll start from the questions which have already come up. Okay, so I'm going to start taking up those questions which some of you have already asked, and try to answer those in a row. And then all the regular ones which is coming, I'm going to take it up, because what happens is sometimes I'll have to shift the questions based on what topic you are asking me. So, and of course, for all the newcomers or all those who have been asking about my photography tutorials, photography workshops, photo tours, all those things. So there you go. I have these 4 workshops what I've already announced. So starting from the Bharatpur to the Bandhavgarh over here, and then that's the little run of Kutch, and finally the Goa birding. So Goa birding, I'm doing it for the first time. So let's see how that goes. It's almost full, the Goa auction. Okay, I'm all set. Okay, good. Rahul, everybody. Okay, reduce this volume over here. So Ahmad, Rahul, all the way. Hi guys. Okay, let me just show you. Like as I said, I'm going to take up as many questions as possible, and I'll start from some of the questions which have already been asked on my show. So let me just go over there, because like yesterday I asked you all. I posted the query and said like, okay, if you have any queries, go ahead and post. And there were a lot of questions which came up. So let me take up one at a time. So for all the questions what you had asked me, I'm just going to share my screen. So that is going to be better for you all to even see what are the questions which had come in, and in that order I'm going to just take it up. Okay, so Raj Desai. So let me start with you about what is back focusing. Okay, so let me just take this camera for the testing. Okay, so normally what I do for all my photography, I go ahead with the concept of back button focusing. So in this case, what I do at the back, be it your Canon, Nikon, any of this, you have this autofocus button. So even for Nikon guys, you have the AF lock and AE lock. So auto exposure lock and autofocus lock. And guys, as I said, like when I'm explaining a particular topic, so try to ask questions related to that. And Congo Ventu, I'm absolutely good. Delighted to see you folks around here. Okay, which mobile phone have photography camera? Every single mobile phones, smartphones nowadays have a good photography camera if you ask me. Okay, so there you go. So as I was talking about the back focusing button, so here as you can see, like at the back there is the AF autofocus button is over here, where what I do is I enable that for my focusing, and then the main button what I have here, the main button, I disable it. Now there are multiple advantages for this, Raj. What happens is normally this button, when I try to do the autofocusing, and especially when I'm shooting in the servo mode, so in AI servo, which is autofocus continuous for you Nikon guys, when I'm in that mode, say if I have to do a recomposition, okay, so then I'll have to shift to one shot or autofocus single. So I don't have time in the field to do those changes. So what I do is, since I disable the front focusing button and keep the back button active, okay, so I press the back button, and since I press the back button, I focus it, I release it, and then I can recompose and shoot in one shot mode. Whereas for continuous shooting, I just have to refocus or move the focusing point and shoot. So at a very high level, that is more about the back button focusing. Okay, Krishnadas, okay, Candid. Okay, guys, again, as I keep saying, whatever queries you have, let's try to keep those queries to the topic I'm explaining, and then I can keep shifting. Okay, then sensor cleaning. Albert, what I would recommend is, of course, Krishnadas, your question about how to make those images, depending on, I know it's about that spider hunter. So I'll do a separate video about that, and I'm going to share that pretty soon. Okay, so Ajay, good evening. Satya, wow, some very nice questions coming up. Okay, so let me quickly go through these things, and then I will share the other ones. So any of those very detailed one where I have to show entire stuff, so those things I'm going to skip for now. Try to keep, as I said, answer as many questions as possible with the queries you have. Okay. Okay, Alan Jacob, that is a good one. Let me talk a little bit about that. It's just not, I hope all of you are able to see the question. So the question from Alan is like, I can talk a little bit more specific about animal behavior. So Alan, let me make it a little wider, the whole perspective about understanding about animal behavior, those things. Let me make it a little wider. Now, what is very important for any of you to become a better photographer is to make sure that you stay focused on 4 pillars of photography, what I call subject knowledge, or in wildlife, bird photography, it's the animal behavioral aspect which comes in. And then understanding the core concepts of photography, which is all the camera related settings, composition elements, all those things. The third pillar is understanding your equipment. So whatever camera you have, whatever tripod, whatever the accessories, how to make the best use of it. So you should first know what it is capable of, what are the drawbacks of that. So work with the capabilities and then work around the drawbacks, the pros and cons. So that is the third pillar, and fourth pillar is all about post processing. So these are the key things which you should know. And in that, one of the key elements or the important pillar, if you want to be a better photographer, is more to do with the subject behavior or knowing about your subject behavioral aspect. Now, if I have to just give a random example, if an assignment has been given to you about kids photography. So this is one of the common questions what I keep or the common example I keep using in a lot of my workshops. So if you have been given the assignment to photograph an young kid, so in the range of say 2 years, so 2 year kid, you have been given the assignment to get a portfolio, shoot a portfolio. So you don't convey to the parents saying like, fine, tomorrow morning 10 o'clock I'll come, keep the kid ready. It will not happen. Now let me see how many of you will get this right. Okay, answer me this. So let me just go to the bigger version of me, and so that like right, oopsie doopsie. Okay, so let me ask this question, and I'm going to keep looking at all your comments. Let me see who's the first one who gets it right. I need two answers. So if you have been given the assignment to go and photograph an young kid, okay, all my workshop guys keep quiet, please. Okay, there are two important behavioral aspect of the kid which you should know. Okay, so before you give an appointment to the parents that tomorrow morning I'm going to come at this time, there are two critical things which you should know if you want to do kids photography. Okay, so let me know what are those two important factors about the kid which you should know. So if you want to see the kid or if you want to photograph the kid in a very happy mood, you should know about two important factors. What are those? So let me just see your comments as to who is going to get it right. And let me, so Vinay, study the subject. No. I'll skip Anup's comment. Let me see who else. Krishnamurthy, and okay, let me see. Okay, cool. Active time of kid. Now, Santosh, active time of kid, you have to see. Martin, which is the direction of flight? No, that is not the priority at this point. Making the kid friendly with you, Ajay Naik? No, that's not right. What keep him happy or her happy? What is it that you tell me? Okay, so all those who are getting right, I'm not reading your comments, sir. Hope you noticed that. Okay, baby behavior. Ayan, what exactly do you mean by baby behavior? Playtime. So when do you think the kid is going to play a lot? Okay, so what he likes. Nah, what he likes will not help you to make him happy and get good images. So Mohammed, kids behavior, kids nature, it's a little bit vague answer, little bit closer in. Playtime, Anand, no. So what is that playtime? Okay, relationship with parents, no, that will not work. Okay, a lot of you have got it right. The two important factors is obviously sleep and food. Okay, so you have to study the pattern of the kid, saying okay, what time normally, when does he sleep, when does he get up in the morning, or that sleep time when it gets over. And then second is food. So normally when the kid gets up, the kid is very cranky, starts crying, you have to provide food, or the parents, whatever. Okay, so obviously he has slept well, he or she has slept well, got up, good food, stomach is full. Okay, once those things are done, at least for the next 1 hour, okay, chances are the kid is going to be in a very happy mood, playful mood. Okay, so you arrive at the time saying fine, that time is probably that half an hour window of between 10 to 10:30, all this would have got over in the morning. So you don't land up there at 10 o'clock, obviously no. So you have to go a little half an hour early or even a little early. If you are trying to set up a studio lighting and all, you have to obviously go a little 1 hour early than that timing. If it is natural lighting what you want to use, then chances are half an hour early or go 1 hour early, doesn't matter, because once you go there, you need to study the place. So you have to arrive at, okay, what location you need to shoot the portfolio. So even be it in the bedroom or even outdoors. So all those combination you have to study. And then chances are once the kid is done with all those activities, the mom or dad, like parents, dress up the kid the way you want. You can check the backdrop, background, all those various combinations you study, and that is when you're ready to shoot. So as you can see, understanding the behavioral aspect of the kid is very, very important. Okay, so this is where studying the subject behavioral, one part of the photography. Now let's come to the other photography. Now let me see. Okay, let me again ask you another question regarding, I would not say behavioral aspect, but yes, about basically the subject knowledge. Now, you have been given the assignment to go to a particular place, or you have been given the assignment, okay, to get star trails. So fantastic, amazing star trails, photography night sky. That is what assignment has been given to you. Now you let me know, guys. Again, I'll start looking at the comments over here. So Arpan, all of you quite late. Not to worry, you're not missed too much. Now you guys answer me. If your assignment is to go with star trails, what are the various things you will check? So what would be your checklist? Okay, forget, I'm not talking about what camera settings, those things. So leave the photographic camera aspect, leave it aside. We're talking about subject knowledge. Okay. So what is it that you think is important? If you have to do a star trial, what are the various factors which you have to keep in mind? Okay, Mohan, yes, you got that right. Low light pollution. So obviously, like if you're trying to shoot night sky, star trials, there should not be too much of ambient light over there. That's a good point. So Manoj, yeah, tripod, I agree. That's there. Krishnamurthy, you got the other point right. Absolutely right. Okay, you have to make sure study the moon pattern, full moon, half moon. So that moon thing, that is quite important because there should not be moonlight over there. Because if moonlight is there, chances are your star trial goes for a toss. Okay. So Ranjit, choose a place which is pollution free. That's right. So when you say pollution free, obviously lighting, dust, all those things you'll have to keep it in mind. So Sidhu, again camera related queries, we'll keep it to the side. But tripod, no. Kishore, you're right. Check the weather. Okay, so the location where you're going, you need to check the weather. Clear sky, Tyagarajan, that's right. Clear sky, Hardik also the same thing. Dark place, Ramya also, yes, dark place and clear sky, that's right. Now, Sik, a lot of you are giving the same thing. Moonlight, you already said. Swapnil, no clouds. Yes, that's another very important parameter. No clouds, clear sky, remote place. Yes. So again, Arpan, I'm not talking about the camera related stuff or photography related stuff. So it's more about subject knowledge. So we will have to study more on the place where you're going. What are the other things? Lighting conditions, Surya, no clouds, low key functions, mobile app. Sandeep, that's an important point. Yes. Okay. So Sandeep, or for the benefit of others, basically you have something called as a sky map. Okay, so you get a lot of these various applications where you can find out where is the North Pole or the Polaris. Okay, so the North Star, where is the location? Because like if you want to get star trails, keeping the North Pole static and the other stars revolving around that, if that's the kind of shot what you have planned for, then if you want to know where is the North Star, the Polaris basically, then you need that mobile app to figure out where it is. So you hold the mobile app to the sky and you get those things. That is obviously that's good. And then even over the hills, yes, that's right, no noise. Uh, okay, again, post processing, I don't want to talk that. Away from the city, that is away from the lights, right? So if you guys see, I think I'm getting some really fantastic answers here. Now, the other thing, again, more from a subject. Now, if you have to bring in a little bit of the photography elements, now you can start answering. So for start trails, what are the other key elements? So some of you have already said, yes, sorry, not open space, your tripod you need to have. Cable release, I didn't see any of you talk, or rather since I did not ask, let me now again open it to you. Manoj Joshi, where am I? That's the Corvette backdrop. Okay, so this image was shot from the Corvette watchtower. So then the whole landscape, it's the Ramganga River in the backdrop. So that's Corvette what you have. Okay, cool. Water body, no stars. No stars? No, no. For the star trials, you definitely need the stars. Okay, sky map. Yeah, Naveen, that's the app. That's right. Okay, now let's come to the photography related stuff. Okay, so if you have to go to that place, so what are the things you're going to check? Okay, so let's see if you can answer those things. So again, Mohan, low ISO possible. Yes, from a shooting point of view, it's going to be a long exposure. So chances are you may use low ISO, but ISO capability based on the camera you'll have to do. Okay, that's right. Tripod is a must. Krishnamurthy, you're right. Tripod plus cable release is a must. Midnight ISO low, again. Wide angle lens, yes. Even wide angle lens, that range also is very important. Remote shutter release, yes. tripod for the long exposure, remote low as a tripod, batteries are full, absolutely batteries, CF card. Okay, now that is another important thing, the bulb mode. In fact, a lot of your camera supports bulb mode. Okay, so for all of you guys out there who don't know much about that, it's more of like once in bulb mode, you keep the shutter pressed, it's going to be pressed and the shutter will be open as long as the shutter is pressed. So you need to have the cable release, lock that exposure basically. So keep the shutter open for a long time. Okay. And yes, Sarah, that's a very, very important point what you mentioned. You need to make sure to carry torch. So torch is obviously very important. Less moon, yes, that's right. Then battery backup, yes. Ravi Kiran, that's a very important point what you mentioned. Foreground and background, that is very important. So whenever you're shooting star trails, okay, so you have to do your homework. So you need is obviously like if you have an open sky and just the star trails, there's no fun in that image. So what you need is a good background and good foreground. So they should be both of it. Say for example, of course, since you're shooting at the sky, more than the foreground or background, the lower portion of the frame or the other elements which comes into the frame, that is quite important. So Ravi Kiran, that's a very, very valid point to make sure like you choose the location. Again, the subject knowledge comes in and then from a composition. So what you mentioned is you're moving more into the composition part. You're absolutely right. Okay. So then what are the other things? Light meter. Honestly, you don't need a light meter for that night exposure, but the knowledge what you need is basically the understanding about exposure triangle parameters. That is very important where it's going to be manual exposure, what you have to do with experimenting with what aperture, what ISO, and then basically in the bulb mode, you just go and take the shutter speed very high or long exposure. So those things you will have to do. Sharp to start, have patience. Absolutely, Pankaj. Another very important thing, guys, if you're trying to go for this star trail photography, make sure you take good sleep, good nap in the afternoon because you want to be awake for a long time. Okay. And the other thing is even with respect to studying the pattern, the behavioral aspect, sorry, not the behavioral, the subject knowledge, right? Even, okay, so you have to figure out, okay, like, is it like what time it's really good? Because sometimes what happens late in the evening, all the stars are a little lower portion in the sky. When you go at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, the stars actually move a little high up. And then very early morning, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock and all, again, probably it comes down. So again, that subject knowledge is quite important. Okay. So then the other point with, I think, Sidhu and Francis, all of you guys are mentioning a very important point is basically one is Sagar, as you said, that's right. It's manual focusing what you need to do. And apart from that, focusing at infinity. So it's quite dark over there. So autofocus is not going to work. Okay, unless there is a really bright star and you can aim at that and get the autofocusing. That is one part. So in that dark light, okay, in that kind of a situation, how do you do manual focusing to get your focusing right? Because like you have to expose for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, all those things, and you think that you have got it right. And then after all that effort, you see that the focusing thoda idhar udhar aage nahi chata. That means little back focus, front focus happened and you lost out on the shots. So that is quite important. So cable release, all those things. Sana, that's again a very important point what you mentioned. Mirror lockup. Okay, so since we are talking about long exposure, okay, so you need to understand about mirror lockup. What is mirror lockup? How it works? How to make use of it? That one. So if you see, I mean, like, oh yeah, Nuski, that's a very, very valid comment. What you have, you need to get some food. You need to carry some food. So food and water, again, two very important thing. Okay, so you'll be awake for a long time. Alexander, absolutely. So bulb mode, yes. So always high for you, light painting. Yeah, so in fact, Hirsch, that's again a very good point. I have done that in the past where you carry a powerful torch and you can play around with light. That means like we sometimes what we do if there are trees in the foreground, so we use basically a torch to paint that foreground. So typically like when you're doing multi-exposure, so there are two different ways you can actually shoot star trails. One is just expose it for 4 hours. Okay, with getting the settings right, you just expose it for 3 hours, 4 hours. And the other one is you expose for 30 seconds, close it, expose for 30 seconds, close it. So that you do it for 4 hours. So per minute is 2 images, so 4 hours into images of 2 per minute. You do the calculation, 400 odd images, whatever you get, you have applications to basically merge them. So in that, in one of the image, basically you can do a foreground painting, any of those things. And then all those composite images at the end, you get the foreground, all those things. So for that, you need to understand what cable release, how to operate those things. So, Mr. Faruqi, like, why you need to carry a torch? Multiple reasons. You're out there, low light. I mean, like very dark in those situations. So you need to carry your torch to see things, and then also, as I said, for light painting, if there are foreground subjects, trees, any of those things, you want to do some painting on that, you need a powerful torch. And also, guys, more so from a safety point of view. So depending on the location, what you're going. Okay, so it's always recommended to wear boots, not the shoes. Boots basically it goes up till the ankle, right? That is very, very important. So in fact, from what I'm aware of and understand, when this cruise, BBC Night Geo, those crews basically when the crew when they visit India or in fact travel world wide for their film shooting, right? For the documentaries, all this. So one of the safety guidelines, what is recommended and a must, okay, from BBC Night Geo, all those, is to make sure they wear boots, okay, thick ankle level. So make sure you cover the legs as high as possible, cover it for your day-to-day shots, everything, mainly to avoid snake bites. Because typically what happens when you're out there walking in the grass or any of those late night is when all those your the Russell vipers, all those comes up. Okay, so all those come up late in the night. So you have to be very, very careful with respect to snake bites. So obviously, if you again understand the snake's behavioral aspect, typically when you're walking around any of the other snakes, like chances are they just go away depending on the vibration. But some of these vipers, the Russell vipers, saw-scaled vipers, some of these, more than the moving away, right, they'll actually be very still because night time is basically when they're the nocturnal creatures, and basically they based on the vibration they hunt. Even of course, for us from a safety point of view, when we walk, chances are a vibration, they may not just move away, they may become sort of defensive and we step on it. Okay, so even on the tail or anywhere when you step off on it, the first thing is the attack at the lower portion. They don't go up. The small snakes, they curl and they sit, they attack at the lower portion. So that is where from a safety point of view, having boots is very important. So here, as you can see, okay, I see a lot of fantastic answers coming up when it comes to star trials. Okay, so as you can see, anything related to photography. So I think all these various things, what I'm saying is based on, I think, one single question which Alan Jacobi asked about, little bit more specific about animal behavior. Okay, so as you can see, it's just not about animal behavior, it's about a lot of things. So when you're trying to do your photography, study the subject knowledge. Again, when you moved into little bit deep into the star trail aspect on how to shoot, you saw the kind of answers what you guys gave me with respect to right from carrying food to the camera settings to the support accessories, if you can see. So that is the kind of background you have to do before you go out into the field. Okay, so camera charging, all those things. So a lot of fantastic answers. So John, snakes more active during daytime? Not necessarily. Okay, so daytime the snakes which are active are one set of snakes, but you have these nocturnal snakes, a lot of vipers. Okay, some of the most poisonous snakes in India and the world. Some of these vipers, they're active more in the night, more than the daytime. It's active in the night. So even the warm-blooded, cold-blooded, so the snake's behavioral aspect also comes into picture. Okay, so some of the snakes so night times they just take rest. You go the bamboo pit viper. I mean, you go out to the Western Ghats or anywhere. Like people lead these photography tours to capture these reptiles. And night 1 o'clock is when basically they go out into the forest. Okay, near the streams, a lot of these locations. So night is when they travel. Daytime they take rest. So it's just not daytime the snakes are active. It's both. Okay. So yep. So there you go. So as you can see, a lot of things are involved when it comes to understanding about photography. Okay, cool. Next question. So again, Madhav, I'm going to skip your question about my workflow and how I organize, because I'll take that up as a separate topic, because today, as I said, like I didn't want to prepare for a formal presentation, the keynote presentation, PowerPoint presentation, what I normally do. So that kind of a presentation I didn't want to do. Try to answer these questions again. How to read histogram, exposure compensation, so exposure lock, again those things I'll take it up some other time. Okay, Okay, so Paddy, in fact, Paddy Pradeep, your question you had asked about how to submit images for competitions and exhibitions. I believe like long time back, I had done a separate session on that aspect as to like what are the things you need to watch out for when it comes to submitting your images for photography competition. So in fact, in the last 1 year, I have done so many of these live tutorials, right? That my Facebook video is full of those things. So probably like at some point I'm going to spend some time and try to organize that with proper heading all those things, download all of them and actually upload them in YouTube, because YouTube, you go into my particular channel, all those videos are available there for viewing free of cost. So that is something which probably I'll try to do. Okay. So that's already available. So as you asked, like what are the guidelines to be followed for submitting for competitions, that is there. Okay. Let's see. Okay, now let me take your question, Debojit, and then all those various things. Yes, in fact, I am live on my YouTube channel as well. Let me just check over there. Okay, so let's see if I am live on my YouTube channel. Okay, so youtube.com channel. Sudhir Shivaram photography. Yeah, live streaming. Only 5 people watching now. Doesn't matter. The reason why I transmit it live here is basically you can watch this in HD. Madhab, you are here. Vasudev ready. Okay, cool. So in fact, once this gets over, you can watch it in theater mode. So I'm transmitting, I think 720p HD I'm transmitting. So this time I wanted to do it more as testing to see if it actually works. And because the quality over here is good, so next time I'm going to probably put up a full HD 1080p on YouTube and a 720p here on Facebook. So that combination probably will work. Okay, so that's nice. Let's see. Okay. All right. So what I'll do is, let me see any other queries. Just awesome. Okay. All this is nice. So the female is the new yeah, Apurva Jain, this particular photograph, right? This is basically the Bamera male. So the Bamera's son, that's the one basically, the new Bamera, what they call. Okay, so this is Bamera's son and this is the Kankati female actually. Okay, so that's the photograph. So Arpan, activating the grid lines, you need to check your photography manual whether 700D supports activating that for your camera. Okay. Okay, so Tyagarajan, you had one query here. Let me take it up and then I'm going to move to all the questions what is being asked in the live session. Okay, promise. Now, Tyagarajan has asked Kishore Macro. So Hemant, the reverse string. Okay, all those questions I'll answer from there. Now, does the number of focusing point, okay, so 1139, decide the crispness or clarity of a photo? Absolutely no, Tyagarajan. In fact, the number of focusing points helps you with respect to the composition. So especially more in terms of action photography, it makes a lot of sense, because what happens is from a composition, you'll have to move around. Whereas if it is a still life, completely static, one single point is all you need. You can recompose if the subject is cooperative, all those things. So one single point is all you need for total static work. Okay. And then the other queries you have is, so higher the quality, higher number of focus points, higher the quality sharpness of photos. No, sorry, no. Huge difference in quality of photo shot with DX camera with 11 FPS and 39 FPS. So it's not exactly 11 FPS and 39 FPS. Okay, so everything, if you ask me, has to do with more of, yes, the sensor size does matter. Full frame versus the crop factor, quality of the images, there will be a difference because the quality of the sensor is obviously better in the full frame camera. So that part is there. But 11 FPS and 39 FPS will not make much difference. It's just, it will help you in capturing the action, the sequence, it will help you, but not exactly for sharpness or clarity. That one, the base parameter. So since it's more about sharpness and clarity, so what really matters is basically what kind of camera body you use, full frame or those Then also with respect to the lens is one of the important factors which decides the clarity of the image, sharpness, crispness, contrast. Okay, so all those things, obviously your uh, lens matters a lot, and what kind of filter if you are using. So as I keep saying, please do not use a UV filter. It just doesn't have any role in your digital photography. Throw away with your UV filter, not needed. Okay, that even subject to the camera distance, how far it is, that also your sharpness, clarity of the subject depends on that. Then of course your shooting technique, with what shutter speed you're using, is it handheld photography you're doing, in handheld, what is again the exposure triangle parameters, shutter speed, how is it, and then is there any movement in the subject. So all these parameters basically decide your critical sharpness of the image. Of course, the MTF chart, which is one of the key parameters to test the quality of the lens, so that comes into picture. So let's go back to this view. Okay, so let me start taking up all the queries which are coming up. Let me go to the live view over here. Okay, so a lot and lot of queries coming in. Good queries, good number of queries. Okay, let's see. So do we need any license or authorization for photography? So Ahmad, I don't understand what do you mean by with respect to, do you need any license or authorization for photography? I mean, if it is more you're talking about copyright, then the simple concept is the moment you shoot, you hold the copyright to that image. Okay. So Sidhu, sir, I've seen your previous video on MTF chart. Could you please explain it once again? I wasn't that clear. So Sidhu, I would request you to go back and play that video, or if you are part of my video tutorial subscriber, then I have a separate long session on MTF chart. So because if I have to explain about MTF chart, I have to again open up the PowerPoint presentation, then a lot of those things I'll have to do. So as I said, I want to currently avoid those long ones. So Seru, Nikon versus Sigma lens. So that's again, it boils down to the cost factor and then the quality of what I just talked about, the MTF chart. So just because it is Nikon doesn't mean it is superior to Sigma, or just because it is Sigma doesn't mean it is like inferior to any other lenses. Nothing like that. In fact, even in Sigma, in Tokino, okay, there are some really awesome lenses out there. So what you have to do to select between a given set of lenses, Nikon or Sigma, any of this lens, is first one is obviously you have to check the MTF chart, which gives you the details about the resolving factor of it, then basically the contrast, then the vibrance. Okay, so all these key characteristics and the sharpness, so resolution slash sharpness of the image from that particular lens. So you have to study the MTF chart to understand that. And beyond that, there are a lot of online reviews available, practical field tests where people would have done and they would have posted it. So a lot of websites are there. So that review you have to do, and that will help you to finalize what is a better lens. Okay. So Raghav, graduated ND filter polarizer in the field. Absolutely. If you are more into landscape, so for example, the backdrop, what you see. So let me just get rid of my workshop stuff. So the backdrop, what you see, right? If this is the kind of scene what you have, then obviously a little bit of like a polarizer, a circular polarizer will help you to enhance the blues in the sky. Of course, you can always say that, okay, this kind of a blue, I can always enhance it in my post-processing. But what is the fun in doing everything in post-processing? The real art of photography, the real fun is to get these things right there in the field, not in your computer. Okay. So for these kind of shots, yes, you need a circular polarizer, and depending on the tonality or the tonal range of lighting, so you may want to use an ND filter, a graduated ND filter, or even a Vario circular ND filter. So all those various options are available. Okay. And then of course, as I keep saying, for a lot of you guys who are new or joining me, these are the various photography learning tools what I have. So all these small things what I answered here, right? So out there during my photo tours, so you get a lot of time to talk only about wildlife, only about bird photography, or to interact with me. So these are the photo tours what you should sign up for, because it's just not a tour where I take you, you shoot and come back. A lot of photography learning happens. Okay, so these are the tours you have to watch out for. Okay, so Alija, I'll answer yours from a previous session. So between shutter priority or aperture priority. Okay, so if you're not comfortable with aperture priority, it's probably because you don't have a full control and understanding about the reciprocity theory. So the whole core fundamental concept of photography is to understand about exposure triangle parameters. All the exposure triangle parameters, what exactly they do, how they correlate, how they work with each other. Okay, so that one is quite important. Okay, so that if you're able to understand, then it's very easy to play around with your overall settings, be it in aperture priority or shutter priority, doesn't matter. Okay. So in fact, Shobhan, why do we need to use the viewfinder? Because if you have the live view all the time, especially for us, we are out there in the wild. Sometimes we do the full day safaris, and in those situations, if you have to do basically, let me get rid of this. So if you have to depend on your battery backup for the whole day, or even if you're carrying multiple batteries, then obviously you don't want to do a lot of live shooting and then get rid of your battery power. So that is where viewfinder shooting and real fun of photography is look through the viewfinder, compose and shoot. Okay. So Sidhu, this okay, cool. So if you are my video subscriber, then I've given a very nice, clear explanation about the MTF chart. So in the best guide for equipment buying, okay. So the ultimate guide for equipment buying upgrade. So go into that chapter under the lens section. There is how to read the MTF chart. So you may want to go there, and I've very nicely explained about how to read the MTF chart. Okay. So Sagar, basics of external flash for portrait. So let me be very honest with you, Sagar. I am not a flash photography person, and so far or normally whatever I keep explaining, teaching, right? So if you look at all those various things, okay. So let me just have a nice backdrop for some time. So if you see all this knowledge, whatever I keep conveying to you guys, all this, right? 99.9% is my practical understanding and practical usage of this in the field. Okay, my knowledge is not bookish knowledge. Okay, you challenge me anything in photography, I'll be able to answer. If I don't know anything, I openly accept it saying I don't know, like flash photography. Flash photography is not a key powerful thing of mine, because I am not into flash photography. At a very high level, I have done a little bit of flash photography, little bit I understand about how it works, but I'm not an expert in flash photography compared to some of my other things. So I'm very sorry. I am not the right person, or currently I'm not in the right position to talk more about flash photography. For me, honestly speaking, it's just understanding about it, little bit experimenting, and then I should be able to upgrade my knowledge. Okay. So Utkarsh, how much exposure time for astrophotography? Honestly, it depends on what you're trying to shoot, what you're trying to create. So there is no standard answer saying this is what you have to do. Okay. So Lavanya, hi. Nice to see your comment, Lavanya. In fact, nice to see you here online after a long time. In fact, yesterday in Giri's new company launch, some of the old Bangalore Photography Club guys, we caught up. It was very nice actually meeting all of them after a long time. Okay, always nice to see known people around here. Okay, so Arpan, how to get grid lines in the viewfinder? You have to check your camera specifications, as I said. So in the live view, it's basically, if you're a Canon user, the yellow color screens, what you get in that, one of them will be basically enabling the grid for the live view. So if your camera doesn't support, it will not be there. Okay. Uh, Okay, so Alan, I think probably I did not answer your real core question, and I just moved off to the generic subject behavioral aspect. And John from Australia, a very late night for you, right? Wow, you're still around. Thank you so much for that. So, as I said, like Alan, when it comes to behavioral aspect, be it tigers or birds, right? So, typically, the frequency, or what do you say, like they stick to the schedule. One very important thing about birds or animals is they stick to the schedule. If I had to give you a simple example, so a long time back, what was this winter migrant visitor? I'm bad at remembering the name of these birds. Okay, so it was this particular flycatcher. Okay, not able to get the name of this. So what happened is, like on Nandi Hills in Bangalore, okay, ultramarine flycatcher, there you go. So it was the first time it was seen in Bangalore. This was almost, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, I don't know, long time back. So people noticed this ultramarine flycatcher coming to a particular tree on Nandi Hills. So a little bit of observation, all those things they studied, And then we figured out, in fact, I went multiple Sundays, almost for that entire month or close to 2 months. Every Sunday I used to visit to photograph that. And during that time, what I noticed is there was this particular tree, okay, and you won't believe it, every day between 9 and 9:15 in the morning, just for those 15 minutes, from nowhere, the bird used to appear, sit on the perch over there, just jump around, move around, feed. Okay, and after that, between 9 by 9:15, the bird is gone. This I noticed it for the full 2 months on every Sunday, Saturday, Sunday I used to go. And in fact, that information was shared, and a lot of people who went there to watch that ultramarine flycatcher, right? Everybody noticed that between 9 and 9:15, it used to come to the same tree. Never changed the tree in all those 2 months when people noticed. So even for that matter, tigers. Okay, in fact, even in the previous one, I did talk about that, where when you go on safaris, like the guide and safari drivers, they know where the tiger is going to appear, and they just go there and they wait. Okay, and it will come out, and you folks will be so surprised that wow, this guy knows. So all those are the behavioral aspect. Even in fact, early morning during the safaris, we try to be the first to go enter the forest, because the other behavioral aspect is early morning. The tiger basically loves to sit on the what you call the sand safari tracks, actually the dusty safari tracks. They like to sit on that. Okay, it's just like very early morning, it's chill, and they don't like to walk around in the, especially in winters, they don't like to walk around in the bushes, because early morning the dew drops are there, and the tigers, they don't like to wet their skin so often in the chill cold morning. So they try to be out there in the open, walking on the main road or sitting on the road. That's where we try to be the first to enter the park. And a lot of times our groups, we spotted it sitting right on the road. Okay. So these are the basic behavioral aspect it comes. So John, yeah, I think it's late night for us, right? So obviously in Australia, it's early morning for you. A very good morning then. Okay. So I have a lot of my friends in Australia. Some of them who have recently moved. So getting used to the time. Okay, so hopefully this time works good for our Indian guys, morning the US guys, and then the next day morning for the Australian guys. There you go. Okay, so Ravi Raj, what is reverse ring and how to use it on the 700D? So it's not about using the reverse ring on the camera, it's more to do with using the reverse ring on the lens. Okay, so reverse ring, normally what happens with a reverse ring is basically the lens what you have. Okay, so the camera is off, everything. So normally what we do, so we reverse it. So you get a ring where you attach it to the front of your camera, reverse it basically, then you can mount it like this. So it literally you reverse the ring and you reverse the lens and you basically mount it to the camera, and everything is going to be basically manual focusing, manual exposure, because the sensor is exposed on the other side. The camera cannot read anything from the lens because you have reversed it. So that is the concept of reverse ring and then the reverse ring photography. Okay, so let me just get back my view of the various tours what I'm conducting for a lot of you guys who are interested to sign up and join me. Okay, so Rana, how difficult is it to shoot normal pics than shooting in wildlife according to you? Rana, you'll have to define what is the meaning of normal pics. So honestly, if you ask me, there is nothing called as a normal pic. So any image you want to make, like any photographer, it's a lot of sheer hard work which is involved, a lot of planning. I think just the simple question what I asked you, be it baby photograph, what are the things you should be knowing about? Okay, I mean, fantastic answers you gave. And then the star dress, what I asked you, like amazing set of answers you guys provided. So right from equipment care, understanding about the subject background, and then the settings what you need to have, the accessories you have to carry. So there is nothing, personally for me, there's nothing called as a normal photographer, a simple one. Okay. So every field has its own challenge, and it's left to the photographer about how much they understand about it and how well they can basically shoot. Okay. And also guys, I believe last time, after some time, people are not able to post their comments at all because they started getting some error, and even here I was trying to look in my phone and I was not getting any comments. So the comments just stopped, and I remember in the live view I had seen some totally some 1,000 odd comments were there, but once the session closed and then I went back to my webpage to answer some of them, I saw the comments were around 540 or something like that. So last time there was some issue with the commenting, so I still see a lot of comments coming up. So I believe so far it's working good. Okay, so Dinil, how do we get sharpness on the picture? I just explained probably around 15 minutes back. I explained. So go back, you can replay this and then get that. Okay, so Suraj, how to get natural light while photographing at light? So that is where basically the long exposure comes in, your exposure triangle parameters and the long exposure comes in. So that is something which you have to watch for. So can you explain metering in wildlife photography? So Jignesh, obviously it's everything to do with understanding about metering itself. Okay, what does spot metering do? What does evaluative metering do? What's the impact of that metering on the photography? So those things you have to understand. Based on that, you decide. At least in my case, last time as I explained, it's more to do with working in evaluative metering mode. That's what I do. Okay. So, Mohan Kumar, is it important for wildlife photographer friends with locals of various places to help you to be at the right place at the right time? Absolutely. So, as I keep saying, when it comes to wildlife photography, doesn't matter in what kind of a super luxury hotel you stay, super luxury resort you stay, what awesome food you get, all that is secondary. The primary thing in wildlife photography is at the end of the day, you are at mercy of the quality, the condition of the gypsy, the vehicle, what you get, and the quality and the condition of your driver and the guide. If any of these things is not good, then you're done with your wildlife photography. Because it happened to me once in Tadoba where I basically entered from the other side of the park and that was a short visit, or rather a last minute decision to go, and from a Navegaon gate, from that side I entered in a weekday, and whoever driver I got somewhere, I just had to go with him. And like I was shooting I was carrying my 800 mm. Okay, so we're driving down. So on the other side of Tadoba, when we enter from Navegaon gate, basically near the Tadoba lake, when you're going, there's a very wide road, very long road. So folks who have gone to Tadoba, you know. So we're driving down, and in the daytime, okay, so you won't believe, in the daytime, daylight, in the afternoon safari, a pangolin, I mean, I've never seen a pangolin in my life. Okay, a pangolin was crossing the road, or rather, it was open. Okay, so right from the left, I could see that the pangolin is coming to the road. Okay, it's going to cross the road, sunlight behind us. What more can you ask for? Fantastic lighting, everything. So as we're going down and I see it coming, so the first instinct as a photographer is, you know, it is going to cross the road. It doesn't make sense to go as close as possible because I am within 800 mm. So I'm telling my driver, stop your vehicle, stop the vehicle, I'll shoot. He said, ruko saab, thoda ruko. Like, I mean, he's asking me, please wait, hold on, wait for some time. And I'm seeing it has now entered the road. It's a very wide road. Okay, it has entered the road. I'm like shouting at the top of my voice saying, Gadi roko, Gadi roko. It's like, roko saab, urgent mat karo. I know what I'm doing. Just hold on. He goes, then I'm seeing like the pangolin is now at the center of the road. Like I'm scratching my head saying, please stop. I have an 800 mm lens. I can shoot it. He doesn't understand. Then he goes, now the pangolin has crossed the road. It has just started to enter some bushes. The bushes are a little far. The open air it goes. This goes all the way there, stops. Sir, pangolin dekho, shoot karo. I mean, he says, sir, look at the pangolin, shoot it. By the time I could lift the lens, it has gone inside the bushes. Okay, so that is where the local drivers, their behavior, not behavioral aspect, so their understanding about the requirement of the photographer, okay, that is very important, and the guide also plays a major role. So when I go to places like Ranthambore, Bandhavgarh, Ghana, Tadoba, any of these places, I make sure I hire the best. Okay, because like even the photography group, what I take, right? I mean, if you see a lot of times or almost every single time we come back with amazing, awesome images. Even Bandhavgarh tour, I'll guarantee you there are a lot of tiger with cubs, amazing happening. So this summer is going to be really good in Bandhavgarh. So this is the April one, what I've announced, April, May, June, all the 3 months I will have it. So May, I'm not very sure. But June again, I'll definitely have my Ranthambore trip, Ranthambore and Bandhavgarh. It's a happening place. So the local contact is obviously very, very important, irrespective of what place, how you do it. Okay, so that local context makes a lot of difference. Okay. So Manoj, the advantages, disadvantages of lens adapters with interchangeable lens cameras. So what happens is if you're using a Sony camera, and it's always recommended to go with a Sony lens itself. So if you want to use a third-party lens on Sony camera, then the Metamon and some of those third-party adapters you will have to use. So obviously it's a adapter implemented by the third party. So obviously, like if the lens has to talk to the camera, it has to now talk through the adapter. Okay, so depending on how they have implemented certain things, autofocusing may go for a toss. I have seen where I used the third party adapter last time, the autofocusing of the Sony for my Canon lenses, it was not very good. Okay, it was very slow. It used to miss focusing. I know that it is in focus, but it never used to allow me to clip because the camera thought that it has not achieved autofocusing. So these are the various issues you will face. Avoid third-party adapters. Always go with the uh, dedicated lens for that particular camera. So Dinesh, Tamron 150-600 G2. In fact, November 1st week, I'll be going to Ranthambore. And one of the new thing which I want to come up or start is basically doing a full-fledged review of all the equipment. So in the past, like 1DX, 5D Mark II, some of these I have done it and written blogs on those. In fact, my Sony Alpha 6300 also have done the review. I'm yet to publish it. So going forward, I'm going to be doing a video tutorial on all these things, right from its features, how it helps, quality of the image, the sharpness, a lot of those parameters, ISO performance, be if it is a camera. So as a part of that, my first project is to take up this Tamron 150-600 G2. In fact, I've already talked to folks in Tamron and I'm waiting for them to get back to me so that they can issue a sample piece which I can use during the November 1st week tour. So watch out for that, and basically like you should be able to see some reviews about the 150-600 G2 from me pretty soon. Okay. So Dagi, what kind of camera you suggest for professional photography? Honestly speaking, there is nothing called as professional photography. It's more of given an equipment, okay, be it a cell phone camera. Real professional photographers, they don't depend on the equipment. They depend on their knowledge, depend on the subject, depend on the lighting, composition, all those factors they depend on, and they never depend on the equipment. Okay, of course, 100% is not accurate, but the point I'm trying to convey is it's not the equipment, it's you as a photographer which matters. Okay, so that is where don't worry about if you want to get into professional photography, what should be the equipment I should buy. No, get your knowledge upgraded first. That is the primary factor. Once you upgrade your knowledge based on the budget, see what best camera lens what you can buy, and then how to get the best out of that. That's the key to make good images. So Melvin, what do I use metering for Zebra? I go with evaluative metering. Okay, so does camera or camera brand matters in photography? With it, I believe I just answered that question of yours. So in video, I can't shoot only in 6. So Lalit, in video, if you cannot shoot for more than 6 seconds, then probably it's the CF card. So a lot of other factors comes in which you have to check. Okay. So Pankaj again, sharpness of an image that I already talked. Okay. So Arpan, can I share some Masaimara pics that I've taken from Balloon Ride? Hopefully I'll share that pretty soon on my Facebook and other places. So how important is eyesight for a wildlife photographer, as I'm into candid but also love to shoot wild, but my eye worried about eyesight. Rana, in fact, eyesight is very, very critical. Okay. So it is very, very important. I know of a photographer friend of mine, Suresh. I have no idea where Suresh is now. So Suresh Clement, long time back we used to shoot. And I remember that Suresh had issues, like he used to wear those big glasses and his eyesight was not very good. Okay, so sometimes when we used to travel, be it for wildlife photography, bird photography, we used to like the bird is sitting right there. Unfortunately, he was not able to see it properly, like unless it's quite large in the frame, pointing. So those things used to come into picture. So eyesight is definitely important. Okay. So is that Note 7 in your hand? No way. This is the Note 4, the older version. Okay. So in fact, Karan, today I read the report that a lot of airlines have banned people carrying Note 7 in the flights actually. So few of the airlines have already banned it. Okay. How to show object blur in night. So Anju, I don't understand when you say how to show object blur in night. Okay. So Michael, how do you find a good guide and driver It all boils down to your local contact. You keep visiting the place regularly, you keep talking. You can send me an email for right from Kazirango to all the places. A lot of professional guys are available, guides, drivers, they are well-known guys. Okay, so there's a huge list. So contact me or just do a search. So you should be able to get the list. And the best is to contact the local guys. Just talk to some of the local tour operators, some of those guys, and they should be able to give you that. As I said, I'm willing to share my contacts, no issue. So how you maintain your schedule? So Shekhar, all my schedule, everything comes down to my entry in the Google Calendar. So I very strictly follow the schedule, the timelines. So if the entry in the calendar is not there, it's not there. I miss it out. Okay, so in fact, I had some very bad experiences of not putting some key entries into that calendar, and even today I repent for some of those things. Simple one being your wife's birthday, your wedding anniversary. Okay, wife is outside probably listening to me. Okay, Rahul Dev, say my name. Hello, Rahul. A very good morning or good evening, depending on from where you're saying hello. Anshuman, uh, so Anshuman, not exactly. So most of the forests in MP, Bandhavgarh, Kana, all safari booking, etc., are online on a lottery basis. Then there is no way to choose good guide and driver. I would not say 100% about that, because what happens is all my bookings I do it through Pagdandi group of resort, that is King's Lodge. Okay, so they do the booking for me. So what happens is in a lot of these resorts, so they have, or from the, even from the forest department. So when you are going through a resort, so the forest department allows at least two vehicles which can be used from the resort. So if, so in my case, what happens, I take groups, and normally we take four vehicles. Okay, so in those four vehicles, two jeeps with known drivers will be from the resort. Other two vehicles basically gets allotted from the department. Okay, so there again, historically in the past, that concept of there of driver fixing charges, where whoever is the vehicle owner, they get basically like, so the vehicle gets allotted from the union. So owner of that vehicle, whatever they get the amount paid, but it's just we request that the driver be the person whom we know. So there were some additional charges, I believe, which was there. Like now, I think the tool is gone. So in fact, in Ranthambore, you have separate fees for the driver fixing charges, guide fixing charges, route fixing probably is not there anymore now. Okay, so additional jeep fixing charges is there in Ranthambore. Like if you want the same jeep to be allotted from the union for all the safaris, I think it's an additional 4,000 rupees or whatever. So those things are there. It's just you have to understand the local things. The best thing is, I'll tell you, like directly talk to the forest department. In all these places, the forest department are very, very cooperative. Whatever information you need, they will give you that information. Okay. So anytime in doubt, directly talk to the field director, send an email. In a lot of these places, they're very cooperative. They even reply back to your mails. Okay, so Alan Jacob, yeah, that's my kids cover. Uh, so Ahmad, approval for taking pictures in the forest, yes, you definitely need the department's permission to shoot inside the forest. The permits is there, the safari permits, you have to pay for that, the vehicle charges, private or personal, personal or vehicle, government provided, those things will be there. So you have to take the permits. Uh, okay, oh, wow, 10:40. Okay, all right, guys. The last few queries I will take up and see. Any other ones, probably like offline, I'll try to answer that. Okay. So Rahul, again, Tamron 150-600 with the D8 combination is definitely a very good one. So although getting attacked by any wildlife, nah, you take utmost care, all those precautionary measures when you are going into the park. So Manu, I don't shoot in manual mode all the time, especially in my safari. I shoot in the aperture priority mode, and based on shade, sun, shadow combination, I keep varying the exposure compensation, which is very important. Okay. So Maitreya, like how to control DOF of an image. So obviously, like when it comes to focusing, again, focusing doesn't work. It's more of you going back and forward. Okay, so and the other thing is if you want to basically use depth of field, if you want to vary, okay, so there's a small technique involved over there, which I think in one of my previous sessions I actually experimented and found out, where if you want to have your aperture fixed at f8 or f16, okay, so you have to go into your camera mode, so go into the camera setting, keep it at f16, press the DOF preview button. So once you press the DOF preview button, the aperture of the lens actually stops down to f16. Okay, then just remove the lens. Then the aperture blades will stay at f16. Then reverse ring you do, and you should be able to get a larger depth of it. So it's more of understanding about those, and then just keeping that setting in your camera. Okay. So, Poonam Parekh, I will not comment on your comment. I will skip that, please. So, Shivam, what is my favorite animal to shoot? Anything. Honestly speaking, even when I do my bird photography, a simple bird like a bee eater or even a pine bush chat, I enjoy shooting that. For me, it's not the subject which matters. It's me spending time with nature, being out there. That is what basically matters to me. So Hitesh, ground level shots in Safari, obviously it's not possible. So what I do is, again, in my last presentation I talked about it, where typically what I do is in the vehicle I remove the vehicle seats in the gypsy and I sit in the lower portion of the jeep on the floor, and then I do the shoot. Okay, so that is how I am basically able to get that eye level or below, not below the eye level, that low level perspective shots. That is how I'm able to get it. So Apurva Jain, yes, hopefully, like I do have plans for full day safaris in Ranthambore. So the cost factor I'm trying to calculate, it's coming in the range of 96,000 rupees for 3 full day safaris. So I'm trying to figure out to make sure I announce it at a time when we can maximize the opportunity for the summers. So Ranthambore, yes, full day safaris I will be announcing for Ranthambore. But Bandhavgarh, I don't have plans to announce the full day safaris, workshops rather, because the permit or the rule guidelines of Bandhavgarh doesn't allow me to announce that. In sense, maximum 3 people can travel in a vehicle, but my understanding about the rules is only one person can shoot. Other two are supposed to be their assistant. So that's the modified rules what they have in Bandhavgarh. So there is no way I can conduct a full day workshop or full day tour in Ranthambore with 3 people, and if all 3 of them have to shoot, that's going to be additional expenses. So cost will go up very high. So unless those rules are changed in Bandhavgarh, I will not be in a position to do my full day workshops in Bandhavgarh. So Ranjit, any plans for international workshop? Yes, yearly twice. I normally do my African tours. So next year, Feb, Tanzania, I'll not be able to do it. But yes, in the month of August or September, so I'll be having my Masai Mara tour. Okay. So Karthik, Tattekad experience. So I mean, Tattekad is a beautiful forest. I have done my tours in Tattekad, the Periyar Tiger Reserve. It's a beautiful forest, and there even we did walking safari. So that's officially allowed in that Tiger Reserve, where you can trek in the forest and shoot. So that has been good. Okay. So Shiv, Nikon 5200, how is it for normal photos? Again, honestly speaking, it's not the camera which matters, more the lens which matters, and beyond that is your knowledge in photography. Okay, so other thing which I missed to update over here is obviously my video tutorials which I have. Okay, so didn't want to put too many things. So please do subscribe to my video tutorials, the same website link, learn.sudhirshivaram.com, whatever you see, that link you go, you can subscribe for my video tutorials. Okay, so a lot of things. So I mean, I know, like the number of comments which are coming in is so high that obviously, like, it becomes difficult for me to answer every single question out there. So my apologies for that. Already I see some 863 comments so far, and some close to 2 lakh people have already seen this, or it has reached more than 2 lakh people. Okay, so I'll try to go back, check these comments. So whatever comments you have, right? So I'll try to go back and see any of those unique questions if you have. I will see how best I can answer that. Okay. So all right, guys. 10:45. Of course, for me, nothing called as a Sunday or a Monday or a Tuesday for me. Every day is a Sunday, and every day is a working day for me. And so I don't have this concept of Monday morning blues, because I have this blues every morning for me. Okay, so that is my life. And as I said, like, I'll try to go back, and any specific queries you have, something interesting if I see, I will try to answer that. And I mean, I will be having these sessions very regularly, as a lot of you already know. And I will make sure, like, I'll try to answer as many queries as possible even in future. Of course, my standard regular one on Wednesday, what I will have, the Wednesday night 9:31, that will have some formal presentation and less questions. So unlike today, for I think for the full 1 hour, I took only questions and answered that. Okay. So thank you so much, guys, and thanks a lot for all of you guys. Joining from all over the world, right from John, right from Australia to folks from the US, and I know a lot of you were there in between. I know last time when you started saying hello, right from some Dubai to Qatar to, I don't know, like from Singapore, I had from every place. People had joined in, and I believe even that's the same today also. So thank you again, all of you, for joining in, and have a fantastic week going ahead. Okay, and also please don't forget to visit my website learn.sudhirshivaram.com. Okay, and then look at all these four different tools what I have, my video tutorials, of course my Kolkata workshop is full. There you go. Sarah from Dubai is there. Okay, and Salil, Dubai, I don't know. In fact, you guys invite me to Dubai, get me the required number of people, which makes commercial sense for me to visit and take the workshop. I will definitely visit Dubai and do it. Okay. So Praneeth, Salil, Devendra, Sarah, Aniket, Jinesh, Utkarsh, Ravi, John, Harsh, Sam, Ranjit, Melvin, Anup, James, every single one of you, Nausik, every single of you, thank you so much for joining, and of course all the other two like folks who had viewed. Okay, so again, probably like Wednesday evening, I'll have the regular session, and hopefully some of the missing ones. I think black and white photography, Madhab, you had asked that. So let me talk about black and white photography. And again, Wednesday or Tuesday when I ask, please put that as a comment so that I don't forget. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. Have a fantastic week ahead starting tomorrow. And for the Australian guys, the week has already started for you all. Have a good one there. Okay. Thanks for joining. Bye bye. So I have to now end the live view. Take care. Bye.